Hello everyone, so here we have two stars and they're rotating along its orbit. The mass is given, the radius is given, and we have to find how much energy would be required to separate two stars to infinite. So basically we have to find what will be the minimum energy to separate these stars at infinite. So we also can find what is the Fg, what is the period of the orbiting. So we know that these two stars are identical. They're revolving along its center of mass, and star speed will be pointing in this direction. So let's first find minimum energy. So in order to find that one, first we have to know that energy is conserved. Initial energy will be equal to the final energy. The final energy at infinite is equal to 0. So what will be the initial energy then? Initial energy will be kinetic energy of the first mass plus kinetic energy of second mass plus potential energy between these two masses, okay? And the final energy will be 0 plus 0 plus 0, okay? So let's write down the formula where mv squared over 2 plus m2 v squared over 2 negative potential energy of this one will be g m1 m2 divided by r total. R total is this distance, okay? From there we know that by adding these two of them we'll get mv squared minus gm squared over r total is equal to 0. Now the minimum energy is required to separate these two stars is basically equal to the E final minus E initial. E final is equal to 0, and initial energy will be minus mv squared plus gm squared over r total. So in order to find that one, we don't know what is the v squared initial one. In order to find the v initial squared, we have to equalize gravitational force is equal to centripetal force. Gravitational force is equal to the g m squared divided by r total squared is equal to the mv squared over r. This is centripetal force. And from there, by cancelling 1 m's, and r total is equal to r, and we have to square them, and this r will cancel with this 1 r. Finally, we will get that v is equal square root of gm over 4r. From there, by substituting numbers, we can get what is the v. So we got v as a 23,576 meters per second. So we take that one, we came again to this formula, E minimum, and we have to plug all the values. And once we plug all the values, we get E minimum is equal 1.111 times 10 to the power of 39 joules. So what about the period? The period is equal L over V. L is the length of the circle, so which is 2 pi r divided by V. R is given, which is 6 times 10 to the power of 10, and V we also found it. So by plugging all the values, we get period as 1.598 times 10 to the power of 8.